and different aspects and different steps of meditation, starting from familiarizing yourself with the body to mantra japa, then meaning of the chant, and then contemplation, right? So that comes to end of the 8th chapter. Now the last chapter, which is chapter 10, which is wise person. So that everybody loves. Everybody is curious, who is this wise person? And how does this person behave in this world? And, so that was a question that Arjun asked in chapter 2. And that whole section is about Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna means, Prajna is knowledge, and Sthita means somebody whose knowledge is firm, somebody understands his reality. So somebody has prepared the mind, and through that mind, the person has followed the teaching, and the teaching is fully and completely understood, without any errors, without any partial knowledge, without any superimposition. There is there are no obstacles to this knowledge. It's totally clear. Now, Arjun asked this question, that is there a person like that who can understand, who can jump, make this quantum shift in one's identity from being a small individual to this consciousness which is boundaryless, right? And if there is a person like that, how does this person behave? How does this person interact with the world? Does the person interact or doesn't interact? So he wanted to know. So in this, what is actually, very often people have cliches about who's a wise person. And mostly the cliche about the wise person is either the person is in the mountain living somewhere, that is one cliche, totally removed from the world, that's one cliche. Then the person has to look a little strange, long beard, can't be normal person, has to wear some special kind of clothes, right? So these are all the images that the mind creates of a wise person, right? Or even yet another cliche is, the person must have some powers. The minute the person is able to do something little bit out of the range, right? Create, some ashes from the hands or some magic, or then that person is very wise. So this is what all our image of a wise person is. Something unusual about that person, or we think that the person will be like a complete Zen, means completely unaffected by anything. So what is really interesting is that Lord Krishna's answer to Arjuna about who is this wise person and how does this person behave in this world. So the first verse is, look at this. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani evatmana tushtaha sthita prajna saha uchyate. So what it means is, Lord Krishna describes the wise person. How will you identify a wise person? Who does the wise person come with a halo, or does the wise person come with any external sign? And if there is no external sign, how will you recognize a wise person?
Equanimity of mind.
Sorry?
Equanimity of mind.
Yeah, the equanimity of mind is a quality of mind.
But how do you recognize that?
Not only that, but the wise person is the one who no longer sees oneself as mind, but understands oneself as consciousness, which is not equal to mind. Do you understand the difficulty of describing a wise person? Because we can only describe a person with the body and mind. But that's very thing that the wise person has negated as I am. Do you understand? So how, and Atma, consciousness, is nirguna. Nirguna means it doesn't have any quality. Mind have equanimity. Consciousness doesn't need equanimity. Consciousness is Sat and Chit. It is only consciousness in whose presence the condition of the mind gets revealed, the body gets revealed, the whole universe gets revealed. Itself has no characteristic. Look at this, in the Upanishads, the consciousness is given, there is a stage, and the stage has many characters. And a lot of drama is going on, and in that drama there are victories, there are defeats, there are some people who have equanimity of mind, some are agitated, there are some good guys, there are some bad guys. All these dramas are going on as they are all interacting with each other and different challenges emerge and everything, right? And that drama is happening within the forms. Some forms are tranquil, some forms are agitated, they have to interact with each other, and there are all kinds of dynamics which are emerging. The truth is that there is a light which lights up all the characters. That light doesn't have any characteristic. The light is not equal to a person who has equanimous mind. The light lights up the person with equanimity, the person who is agitated, the interaction between the two and all the potential problems that arise. But the light, it doesn't take on any characteristic of any character. That light is who we are. Light of consciousness. Light of consciousness which was never contaminated, which was never something which was impure, which was never agitated, that is ever pure. It will survive. The equanimous mind will go when the body goes. That light doesn't go. The light which lights not only one character, it lights every character. And the light does not share any characteristic of any character that it illumines. This is Chit Swarupa. Chit Swarupa, if you keep on connecting it to the condition of the mind, you make it as small as the mind. You cannot have limitlessness because mind is an instrument. Please understand, mind is very important. Clear mind is very important, but clear mind is like a clean water vessel. Through that mind, what we have to understand is the sun. And the sun has got nothing to do with the mind. This relationship has to be clear. Ultimately, that is why it's a quantum jump. Here, everything, you retain your identity as body and mind and you purify it. Here, you make a quantum jump and see yourself as an entity which is much more than the mind. So, that is when you have made that shift, listening to the Shastra, removing your doubts, doing the contemplation, when that whole process is completely complete and what is said by the Shastra is exactly what is captured by your mind, then you are a wise person. So clean mind is an instrument, that's why it is very important. But clean mind is a means to know Brahman. Brahman is that which is Nitya. Nitya, as Surya said, is not subject to time. Is mind subject to time or not?
Yes.
Mind is subject to time. When the body is born, the mind comes. The mind is going to go. This is what answering Sabina's question, right? Can artificial intelligence do contemplation to know nature of Atma? What is the true answer in terms of Shastra is what is it which is really special about human life? Because human life in our Shastra is considered to be very important life because we have three conditions which makes us eligible for moksha, which is complete freedom. So what are those three characteristics? Human birth is an extraordinary birth. What do we have in human birth which is special from all the other species that are on this earth? One is we have extremely advanced mind which is capable of complex problem solving. So what it means is a bird will not have a question, how long ago was the universe, how did, what was the origin of the universe, how many years ago did it start, what meaning can I give to my life? All these questions a bird may not have. It is simple, it flies, it takes whatever to eat, then it goes to its nest. So mostly it is what surviving and propagating. So that is most of the species, they are intelligent, but they are just surviving and propagating. Human being is capable, mind is advanced, it's capable of complex problem solving. The second condition, human condition, which makes it eligible for moksha, is because this mind is so advanced, it not only has the capability of knowing things of the world, it has self-reflexive capacity. And what is self-reflexive capacity? You not only can think about the world, but you can also think about yourself in the world, which then creates what we call self-image. So what Swamiji used to say is that a dark cow may not have any complex. The dark cow is just dark cow. But if owner may have a complex, I have a dark cow and somebody else has a white cow. And what it means is that we all have, not only we have advanced mind, but that mind not only thinks about, oh, how old is the universe, it also thinks about oneself. And as a result of thinking about oneself, it creates a narrative about who I am. And in that narrative, everybody, no matter who that person is, there is some inadequacy. What is some inadequacy? So there is a beautiful story in Mahabharata. There is a lovely story. So Mahabharata has a story. I don't know if you're familiar with the characters of Mahabharata, but there is a very famous character called Draupadi in Mahabharata. And she's a wife of Arjun. Arjun is the hero who asks a question in Bhagavad Gita. And Draupadi, when she was young, she was a princess. And when she was young, so she was born in a palace with a very powerful king, Drupad. But she suffered from a complex. What is a complex? I'm not beautiful. So she thought about herself as, oh, I'm not dainty like other females, I'm not petite, I'm tall, I'm dark, I am big. And that self-image made her conclude, who will marry me even though I'm born to this incredibly powerful king, I'm so unattractive that I'll have to settle for some mediocre king because I'm not beautiful enough. What it means is, this has got nothing to do with perception of others. It is the perception of yourself about yourself. Somebody else may look upon her as one of the most privileged women because she was born in a palace, she was always wearing beautiful clothes, she had beautiful ornaments, she seemed to have absolutely no struggle in life. Everything was taken care of, but there was a suffering. This is an outcome of advanced self-image. We create narratives about ourselves, who we are. And then there was a beautiful story. One day she was feeling so inadequate, and she went to Krishna. Krishna is a hero in Bhagavad Gita. And she told Krishna, you know what, I'm feeling like this, I'm feeling miserable, that I'm not attractive, and nobody will marry me. And what did Krishna do? Krishna said, Draupadi, look at me. I'm also dark. I'm not very white. I'm short. I'm not really tall. I'm very simple. I grew up in a small little village among cowherds and among cow. But I don't think of myself as small. I think that I'm really cool. And I'm enjoying myself. I'm playing my flute and I'm playing with my cows, and I go to Yamuna and I dip and I enjoy myself, and I'm always cheerful, and everybody surrounds me. We tell Draupadi, change your story about who you are. And Draupadi was very close to Krishna. So there was something that he said. He didn't start advising her, Draupadi, have a better self-image. Draupadi, you don't need to think about yourself in this way. He gave his own example, and he talked about all his inadequacies. And he still said, I am so happy about myself. From that day, Draupadi thought of herself differently. She thought that she was not nobody. She thought that she was strong, she was powerful, and she then became, look at this, wife to 5 most powerful men, Pandavas, and all of them were on her fingers. All of them were afraid. So even when Arjun is like this great warrior and this and that, and then he goes and he marries somebody else, Krishna's sister, Subhadra. And when he's coming back to Hastinapura, he's shaking. He's shaking. What will Draupadi think? So he says, I don't want to face her. He tells Subhadra, you go and talk to her. What it means is, self-image is a huge thing. We have advanced brain. You can have a very healthy self-image, but unfortunately, we all have, because we don't have adequate surrounding and upbringing and adequate confidence levels, we all in some ways suffer from poor self-image. And it has got nothing to do with how people perceive us. It is to do with what is the story I'm telling myself about myself. So very often people come to me with some problems, right? And I tell them that, try this. I don't know. It's not like I can solve all the problems. I said, I give them some options. Try this, try this. And even before trying, what they say is, But what if it doesn't work? What if people don't listen to me? What if people override me? What is this self-image? What are you telling yourself?
I'm not able to solve.
I'm not able to solve. Before solving any external problem, we need to solve our internal problem. If I feel nobody will listen to me, who will listen to me? Nobody. Do you understand? You first have to see yourself differently before people begin to see you differently. Because if I myself feel I'm unattractive, I'm not good, nobody will listen to me, I don't give myself enough power. Who will then take me? If I myself am not able to take myself seriously, who will take me seriously? Self-image is a huge thing. Advanced mind is a huge blessing, but if this advanced mind is not used appropriately, it can lead you to make you feel inadequate, small, insignificant, powerless. So that means this is our second characteristic, advanced mind. Self-image, which very often makes us feel small and inadequate. And the third thing is faculty of choice. What it means is that if you feel small and you engage with the world, and that doesn't solve your problem of smallness and inadequacy, you can make a choice, how do I solve this problem? And you can look for solution. And you can, that's what, that faculty of choice makes you choose moksha. No matter how much I engage with the world, no matter how much I'm able to get good positions, good wealth, I'm not able to solve this problem of smallness and inadequacy.
Can you please explain the word moksha again?
Moksha is freedom. Moksha is freedom from what? Freedom from this smallness. Freedom from smallness. Everybody is searching, but everybody is searching through something in the world. One day when you recognize no object in the world, the objects of the world are not bad. They give me comfort. They give me some pleasant things. But they don't solve my problem of smallness and inadequacy. But that is the most fundamental search I have. So there must be a solution. But the solution is not in engaging with the objects. What Vedanta says is that solution lies in knowing your true nature. That's already free. That search for freedom will only be satisfied when you see yourself complete. So that means that faculty of choice makes you choose freedom, and for that freedom, re-understanding yourself. And not seeing yourself as a limited individual, but through Vedanta study, seeing yourself as Brahman, which is of the nature of existence, which is like that light which exists in whose presence every character is seen. Existence and awareness. And that awareness, the light, has no limitation. The light lights up everything. Like the sun doesn't light up only one thing. It lights up everything and remains free from the characteristic of everything that it lights up. That light of consciousness is not an external light, it is with you right now, which is lighting up your thoughts, which are coming and going, which is lighting up the conditions of your body, which is lighting up the rest of the world for you. That consciousness is who you are. And that consciousness is who I am. And that consciousness is what Marian is. And that consciousness is what Otto is. And that consciousness is what Sita Devi is. How many consciousnesses are there? One. One consciousness, there are many bodies, there are many minds, there are many objects, but there is only one light. Like there are many characters, but there is only one light, which lights up all the characters. Where is the location of that consciousness? Where is it? It's everywhere. If it is I of you, and if it is I of me, and it is I of everyone, it cannot have one specific location. Minds are many. Some minds are agitated. Some minds are all totally projecting things. Some minds are clear. But we are not here talking about the mind. We are talking about the light which lights up all the minds. So that means that, look at this. This consciousness right now is with me, because of which I am able to recognize whether I've eaten too much for lunch or not, whether I'm digesting the food or not. Don't search for that consciousness of Brahman, that in meditation I will connect with it. There is no connection or anything. Right now, it is there. It's only one thing which is never away from you. Everything else is variable. That is the only thing which is invariable. There is no transcendence, there is no moving anything. It is in and through everything, and it is free from everything. So, that consciousness, when you have shifted through listening to Shastra, listening to Vedanta, and with what Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam, you have shifted your identity from being an individual to being this existence awareness which is limitless. When you have completed this journey, this is the destination, then you are a wise person. For this, what did you do? You had to purify your mind. You had to make your emotional life in order. You had to get your dharma right. You had to settle account with the world. You had to bring Ishvara in your life. In the order of Ishvara, you had to heal yourself. You did all that work. You can't skip all these steps. You did all of this. And as a result of doing this, what did you do? Made your mind pure enough to understand that you are Sat Chit Ananda Atma. And when that process is over, you are called a wise person. Sthita Prajna. So what Lord Krishna says is, when Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. What means that now you are not searching for satisfaction. Why you are not searching for satisfaction? Because you found satisfaction.
It's coming from along.
When you see yourself as limitless, complete, do you need something else to complete you, to give you satisfaction? No. So that means all the demands, all the longings, everything resolves in you discovering yourself as the whole. That is a wise person. It is not retaining this small individual and pretending to be satisfied. This is not what we are talking about. Pretending, oh, nothing matters, it doesn't matter, I'm always satisfied. That is just an individual trying to convince yourself that I'm satisfied. Here it's a discovery. And a discovery that I'm limitless. There is nothing which is lacking. And there is no boundary to I am. So ultimately, it is only this shift which makes you a wise person. Now, yes, Ehud, you had a question.
Given all that you have said, I'm not sure I understand anymore the importance of the question, who is a wise person? Why would I be interested in that? The only thing I can think about is that I have spotted this wise person, I will stick to him like, chewing gum under a chair, and I will emulate everything that he does and in the hope that I will one day be a wise person, but I'm only emulating something that, as you said, he has negated. So what's the point? Why do I need to spot a wise person?
Good. This is a wonderful thing, right? Look at this. What his question is interesting. So that means you are not trying to emulate the behaviors. You are trying to get into the mind which has captured the vision of Vedanta accurately and is able to communicate that vision accurately so you can fully get it. This is how it is. So you need a wise person to make you wise. And what does the wise person do? It doesn't, the point is you're not trying to, we are not here to have any adulation for wise person. That's not the idea. You are engaging with a wise person because your interest is you want to become wise. You're not here to look up to somebody. That's not the point. That person knows something and that person is able to communicate to you what the person knows. And by knowing that, you yourself also see yourself because your I am is identical to the wise person's I am. So what that person's words that are not his or her own words, they are words of Shastra. Mm-hmm. When that person is able to communicate those words without any contamination, because the person, suppose, understands it properly, then what it can do is also remove your way and make you see yourself as limitless. That's why you are engaging with a wise person. But in order to become wise, that person had to go through some purification. So that means that purification also translates into behaviors, which are not just ordinary behaviors. So that also is a little bit of source of inspiration. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is the ability to show you that truth, which is wise person's truth, is also your truth. Because somebody, I think Volker was telling me during lunchtime, you can, or I think even Otto was saying, no matter how many books you read, without a live teacher, you can't get the teaching. Why can't you get the teaching?
Because the books won't correct you on their own if you make a mistake.
Excellent. Because you already have a certain belief and you only build based on your existing belief. As I showed you, whether it is dharma or emotions, simple things, we have wrong frameworks. And within those wrong frameworks, we keep building. But there has to be a person who actually shows you, this is not the framework. The world actually looks like this. It is taking you out of your box. And the person is capable of, if your mind is expanded enough, you can see where the person is stuck. And you can find many, many creative ways to free that person from where they are stuck. That is human intervention, which is a wise person's intervention. That is the contribution to the life of another person. This is why there is Guru Shishya Parampara. Guru Shishya Parampara means nobody is able to understand this knowledge just like that. It's impossible. Somebody needs to show you, and then you understand. Then you, with humility, you pass it on to somebody else. That's why if this whole thing comes, I am the Guru and it's all a show. There is no truth in that. So that means this person is a wise person. Now, is it a little bit clear why is wise person interaction with wise person required? Okay.
But of course you're assuming here that a wise person also knows how to teach, which is not necessarily the case.
Yeah, so that is also very interesting. There is an expression in Shastra, right? That suppose there is X person who's wise, right? You have to approach the wise person because the wise person has solved the problem, doesn't have any pressure as such. And what you have to tell this person is, look at this, Madartham Smara. What it means is, for my sake, you remember, see, knowledge is something that the wise person understands. So it's not that the person has to remember the knowledge, but the person to be able to teach you and transfer the knowledge to you has to have the right methodology. To take you from where you are and show you what the reality is. So it's not just about repeating the final reality, it is accompanying you and take you to this truth. So you have to request him or her. What you can say is, for my sake, that vision that you have understood, but what you have to remember is the entire methodology which will lead me to from where I am to that truth. And then the teacher has to decide. It's not that the teacher will always say yes. The teacher has to decide. How does a teacher decide whether the teacher is going to invest time and energy and all the thing in anybody? Because as I told you, it's not always easy journey. People have transference, then you're trying to do something, then they'll project, then they'll have all kinds of emotional upheavals, and then they will have all kinds of, two human beings come together at a close level. So many things can happen. Like a couple, you come together because of love, but in that process of love, how many things happen? So many things. Any close relationship is like that. Really. And you have to be ready for that. If you come with this romantic idea, what will happen is, if you are touched, if it is only cognitive, then you don't have transference with your physics teacher because you don't invest emotionally. You only can have transference when your heart is moved. So if anybody is able to touch you at that level of heart, all the problems will also start. So it's a journey, right? And then you have to work it all out and cross and face everything without dodging anything till that person accompanies you and makes you see that you are the whole. Why would a teacher say, oh God, this is a headache? First of all, speaking about it is not easy. I have to speak about it. then I have to find creative ways of saying it, then there is some emotional, all these in the journey, all kinds of projections can happen. Why should I bother? It's tough. It's not easy. To teach simple thing is not easy. Amba was telling me that teachers in Germany have burnouts. Why do they have burnouts? Because it's hard to teach kids. Here you are, there you are teaching subject matters. Here you are teaching the truth about the whole life. It's not easy. Right? But what then happens is, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing because when you see a bright eye, when you see a smiling face, when you see that your words, which are not actually your words, they are Shastra words, but communicated without contamination, it can make such a big difference in anybody's life. What can you want more in life? What is more important? It's not. And in the process, please understand, it's not like you are doing anybody a favor. You yourself, and one thing that Swamiji used to say, you yourself are growing. You yourself are learning how to communicate. So one day I asked Swamiji, Swamiji, when two people ask similar questions, your answers are different. But why? The question is the same. How come your answer is different? And he said, because I don't answer questions, I answer the person behind that question. Wow. What it means is, it's not, I have to see where you're coming from. Who is this person who's asking questions? It's not totally technical. That's why artificial intelligence cannot do that. Right? You need to recognize and you need to answer. So what it means is, it's a very involved engagement, but what it is it's highly satisfying for both. It's easy for a student to receive it and give up all these ideas of smallness and inadequacies and see yourself in a true light when you are on the whole. And enjoy the freedom, moksha, which is not coming from any external source, it's coming from your true nature. All the false conceptions have to drop off. So that means exactly at the right. So okay, so this is a wise person who has made a shift from the individual to that person. But this person, there are one thing which I would like to say, then I would like to give you a break. And this person, we often imagine, which I want to reiterate, we think of a wise person as that person who has understood the individual, the world, which includes all the other individuals and everything else, and Ishvara, the intelligence from which the whole manifestation is. Everything collapses into one reality, which is called Brahman, which is the truth of not just one individual, it is the truth of everything. Right? So this is what we know is the wise person. And unfortunately, where we make a mistake is, we think that the person is only established here and the person has negated everything. No. the person has not negated everything. The person recognizes the place of everything. So what does it mean? Everybody else only sees oneself as one individual and everything else as separate from it. The wise person understands what is this individual. The wise person understands what the world is. Wise person understands what Ishvara is. What are the proper relationships? And all these relationships are totally healthy. And then all of them are sustained by this reality. So the wise person is not only operating from here. The wise person has the whole picture. Because the picture is whole, there is no mix-up. When I'm interacting with one individual, I don't bring Brahman. So the problem is, when we were studying, two people were fighting, right? When you are studying, all the students, whether you are studying this knowledge or any other knowledge, people fight. Then somebody would come and say, oh, both of you are Brahman, why you are fighting? What it means is, this is called skipping reality. There is an individual conflict which you need to resolve. You can't skip and you can say everything is one, so why do you fight? That is not the right way. So what it means is, the wise person is able to see where the differences are and also see where the unity is. It's not only operating from here, the person has the whole picture and is able to relate at whatever level without a mix-up. So this is very important to recognize. That's why the person is able to move around with ease in anything and solve things which are complex without getting entangled. It has a whole perspective. The example, then I'll end and I'll give you a break. There is a lovely example of blind men touching the elephant. So when the blind men touch the elephant, the person who touches the tail describes the whole elephant as only the tail. Somebody who's touching the body describes the whole elephant as only this coarse skin. Somebody who's touching the leg describes the whole elephant as like a pillar. What is the truth? Each one of them is not totally wrong, but the person doesn't see the whole picture. The wise person is the one who sees the whole picture. What does it mean? The whole picture includes individual. The whole picture includes the world. The whole picture includes Ishvara. And within, and all of them are included in Brahman. The entire picture of what is totally clear. That's why it's not artificial. If you only want to be here and want to negate everything, everything will become artificial. So, this totality makes the person not only looking at the world at surface level, but it sees the whole world and the relationship between everything accurately. So we will see this a little bit more in further in the last session after the break. How does this person, not only the person knows this reality, but the person also gives the right place to all these different entities. So how does this person behave? That we will see next time. This is what the person understands, but behavior requires all of these entities to come back. So that we will see after the break. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.